There are many different interpretations of Zhõng Yõng, or the golden mean, in Chinese philosophy. Some of the most common interpretations include Confucian interpretation. In Confucianism, Zhõng Yõng is seen as the ideal state of moral cultivation. It is the state of being in perfect harmony with the Tao, or the way of heaven. Confucians believe that Zhõng Yõng can be achieved through education and self-discipline. They also believe that Zhõng Yõng is essential for creating a harmonious society. Taoist interpretation. In Taoism, Zhõng Yõng is seen as the natural state of the universe. It is the state of being in perfect balance, without any extremes. Taoists believe that Zhõng Yõng can be achieved by following the Tao, or the way of nature. They also believe that Zhõng Yõng is essential for living a happy and fulfilling life. Buddhist interpretation. In Buddhism, Zhõng Yõng is seen as the path to enlightenment. It is the path of moderation and compassion, which leads to the middle way. Buddhists believe that Zhõng Yõng can be achieved by following the Noble Eightfold Path. They also believe that Zhõng Yõng is essential for overcoming suffering and achieving nirvana. Neo-Confucian interpretation. Neo-Confucians developed a more sophisticated interpretation of Zhõng Yõng than the original Confucians. They believed that Zhõng Yõng is not just about finding a middle ground between extremes, but also about achieving a balance between different parts of oneself, such as one's emotions, desires, and reason. Arguments for and against each point of view. Confucian interpretation. Arguments for. The Confucian interpretation of Zhõng Yõng is appealing because it offers a clear and concise framework for moral living. It also emphasizes the importance of education and self-discipline, which are essential for achieving a good life. Arguments against. Some critics argue that the Confucian interpretation of Zhõng Yõng is too simplistic. They argue that it is not always possible or desirable to find a middle ground between extremes. They also argue that the Confucian emphasis on education and self-discipline can lead to social inequality. Taoist interpretation. Arguments for. The Taoist interpretation of Zhõng Yõng is appealing because it emphasizes the importance of living in harmony with nature. It also offers a more holistic view of morality than the Confucian interpretation, which focuses primarily on social relationships. Arguments against. Some critics argue that the Taoist interpretation of Zhõng Yõng is too vague and difficult to apply to everyday life. They also argue that the Taoist emphasis on living in harmony with nature can lead to a lack of social engagement. Buddhist interpretation. Arguments for. The Buddhist interpretation of Zhõng Yõng is appealing because it offers a path to enlightenment and liberation from suffering. It also emphasizes the importance of compassion and moderation, which are essential for living a good life. Arguments against. Some critics argue that the Buddhist interpretation of Zhõng Yõng is too otherworldly and does not provide enough guidance for living in the real world. They also argue that the Buddhist emphasis on moderation can lead to a lack of ambition and creativity. Neo-Confucian interpretation. Arguments for. The Neo-Confucian interpretation of Zhõng Yõng is appealing because it offers a more sophisticated and nuanced understanding of the concept. It also emphasizes the importance of achieving a balance between different parts of oneself, which is essential for living a fulfilling life. Arguments against. Some critics argue that the Neo-Confucian interpretation of Zhõng Yõng is too complex and difficult to understand. They also argue that the Neo-Confucian emphasis on achieving a balance between different parts of oneself can lead to a kind of self-absorption. Condensed summary. Despite their differences, all of the different interpretations of Zhõng Yõng share some common themes. These include the importance of moderation and balance, the importance of living in harmony with nature and others, the importance of self-cultivation and moral living. Zhõng Yõng is a complex and multifaceted concept, and there is no single interpretation that is correct. However, by studying the different interpretations of Zhõng Yõng, we can gain a deeper understanding of Chinese philosophy and culture. Additionally, the different interpretations of Zhõng Yõng can be applied to our own lives in different ways. For example, the Confucian interpretation of Zhõng Yõng can help us to develop a strong moral compass, while the Taoist interpretation of Zhõng Yõng can help us to live in greater harmony with nature. The Buddhist interpretation of Zhõng Yõng can help us to overcome suffering and achieve enlightenment, while the Neo-Confucian interpretation of Zhõng Yõng can help us to achieve a balance between different parts of ourselves. Ultimately, the best way to understand Zhõng Yõng is to reflect on its different interpretations and to apply it to our own lives in a way that is meaningful to us.